Hi friends, it's Shari. Today I am making a thank you card, but I am having a yummy taco theme to this card. So I'm starting out with the treat cart stamp set for my cart, and I'll be using the treat cart add-on tacos to create a taco card. But I also thought it would be fun to pull in year 9 with that big taco and also the cactus from year 10. So I've just placed all of my stamps onto my Misty, and I'm using Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink to stamp them all out onto some white cardstock. And that's because I am going to be doing coloring with my alcohol markers. So once I have these stamped out, I can start my coloring, and I'm starting out with that big taco. Now my idea behind this taco is for it to be kind of the sign on top of the cart, and I just think that's really funny to have this giant taco as a sign. It would really catch your eye from far away and make you come and want to go to the taco cart. So I'm using two colors of yellow for the shell, and then I'm going in with a darker kind of brownish yellow and adding some little dots for some texture on that taco shell. Now to fill my taco, of course, I need some red tomatoes, some green lettuce, and then I will pull in a brown marker for that taco meat. I will be coloring that little small taco with the same colors, but I will probably skip over that just to cut out a little bit of time. Now for the cactus, I'm using two shades of green. So I started out with that darker green at the bottom and kind of pulled it up from the bottom. Now I'm filling in with the lighter shade, and then you'll see me go back later with the darker shade to add a little more darkness at the bottom. For the pot, I'm using some red, so I'm using that same color I used for the tomatoes. And then I will pull in a slightly lighter shade, this one is a little more pink, and blend it out to create a red pot for my cactus to live in. Now that I have both of these colors, I wanted to add a little bit more to it. I'm using black licorice because I'm done with my coloring. And as I said before, the taco is the sign, so I'm stamping taco cart onto the taco. This is going to go up on the top of the cart, up on top of that canopy. And then for my cactus, there are smiley faces in that year 10 set, but I wanted him to be super cool, so I pulled out all the smiles and I am stamping the smiley face with the cool sunglasses. And you can see I just did some test stamps up there before I stamped it directly on my already colored image. Now I'm moving on to my little bear, and I'm using E35 for the dark shading and then E33 to blend it out. I will also use this for the churro, which is going to be the little snack that he's holding. And then on to my taco cart. I decided to make my taco cart all shades of teal or aqua so that it didn't compete with the bright colorful colors of my taco and my cactus and all of that. So I'm just using two shades of that teal color for the canopy, pulling in some grays for some of the more metal accents of the cart. I have a dark gray for the tires here, and you're actually going to see me color that handle in that dark color so that I could use the lighter gray for the part that connects to the cart. And then I'm going back to those same two BG13 and BG11 for the bottom part of the cart. You can see I have also stamped the little banner below it, and that's going to decorate my cart. So I wanted those to be in warm colors and keep my cart in that nice cool aqua tones. So I'll color in my little banner with that same pink that I used to blend out the pot of the cactus, and then one of the yellows from the taco. And as you can see, this is where I've already colored the little taco to match the big taco. Now I'm pulling in that very light cream color for the paper around the churro, the menu, and then now I'm on to that last little bit, which is my little tray of hot sauces. And I'm using the same colors I've used on the other images, reds and greens, and I'll pull in that really pale color for the labels. And then I will use a bright yellow for the tray. I just wanted these little hot sauces to really pop and color on my cart. Now I use the coordinating dies to cut everything out, so everything is cut out, and I will just set this aside while I move on to the background of my card. And I'm using Gleeful Gradients to create kind of a sunset background. I thought that this would go perfect with the taco cart, so I'm using this one here that kind of goes from yellow to orange to that peachy pink color, and I will just cut this out with a stitch rectangle. You can see I'm moving it around to kind of figure out where exactly I want it to be, what colors I want to feature on my card. Now for the ground, I'm using the green watercolor wishes paper. I just cut a strip that's 2 inches wide, and then I trimmed it out with the same stitch rectangle so we have that stitching along the bottom. And I am going to stamp my sentiment first. So I used Henry's Jr.'s ABCs to spell out my sentiment. This is Muchas Gracias, and I am stamping that along the bottom in black ink. Now I can trim it down to the height I want, and I started out by just trimming it straight across, but I decided I wanted something a little more decorative, so I pulled out the simple wavy border die. This is the medium size one. There is one with smaller little humps and bigger, and this is just a fun way to kind of make a ground without using the grassy border, because a lot of that grass is going to get covered up by the images anyway. Before I assemble everything together, I decided I wanted a little bit of texture on that background piece. So I added some metallic gold splatters. You can see I'm doing a few little white splatters and then very, very minimally, just a few tiny little black ones. And this really gives some texture to this sky. Now, once that is dry, I can add this to my card base. And then for the ground along the bottom, I actually wanted to pop it up and have some dimension. So I'm adding some foam tape along the back, and then I will just pop this right along the bottom of the card. So now my ground is popped up and then all my images can pop up too. Now before I start putting them on the card, I do want to assemble them a little bit. So let me add that giant taco cart sign. I just think that this is so fun. I love the oversized look of that giant taco. I am also adding my little hot sauces to the cart. I have my little menu that's going to go over here on the left side, a little crooked. And then I can add my little banner across the bottom to finish decorating my taco cart. You can see now we have all that color popping off of that kind of more cool toned cart with the teals. Now I need to add my little churro to the hand of my little bear here. And then, of course, we have our cactus. And I'm just adding the taco to his little hand. He could be holding two things. It'd be cute with a hat, too. I just think it's fun to have this cactus as kind of the proprietor of the taco cart. So I've added my taco cart with some foam squares, so it's popped up just like the ground on the bottom. Then I'm adding my little bear here. I'm adding a little strip to the churros, so that's nice and supported. So he is popped up with foam as well. And then, of course, I will do the same with my little cactus. And I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue to the bottom where it touches the grass, just to kind of hold that down so it doesn't ever get caught on anything. Now, I felt like the sides of the sky were a little empty, and you know I love some embellishments, and this time I went for black sparkle glitter stars using the sequin mix die, and I just love how these turned out. They really pop on that background. They really stand out. They have that little bit of glitter, and I have one of each size on each side, and then I decided to add one more little one down here because it just seemed a little bit empty down there, but it really goes with that dark sentiment at the bottom, and I just love the look. Now, I am, of course, pulling out the stickles for some glitter. I added some to the churro so it looks like it has sugar all over it. We need some stickles up here on the sign so it catches your eye when you're outside and you can see that taco cart, and I added it to the banners as well. And then here is my finished card with that Muchas Gracias taco cart. I just think it turned out so cute. I love all the bright colors. I also love that you can make a thank you card out of almost anything. Just think outside the box. I mean, a taco thank you, who would have thought? Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.